Masters Bangkok is the first international event of 2025. Every team has played their respective region's kickoff events, and now we'll be meeting at Thailand to determine who will win the first international trophy of 2025. And so far, the level of play that we have seen has been off the charts. G2 with their impeccable play, T1 and Vitality with their super team status, and EDG's grip on Chinese Valorant being never ending. This is bound to be a great way to start international play. G2, Sentinels, Team Vitality, Team Liquid, T1, DRX, EDG, and Trexx Esports. This is the Hater's Guide to Valorant Champions Tour Masters Bangkok. Before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys a new project that Esports Andy and I have been working on called Hidden Levels. It's a channel where we make documentaries about all things gaming related. Our first video we talked about legendary Nintendo composer Koji Kondo, and we just recently released a video about Balatro. If that interests you, the link is in the description below, and make sure to subscribe to Hidden Levels as we're going to be releasing a massive history of FPS esports in the future. As for Exit Frag, we are uploading content on almost a daily basis on that channel, and this upcoming week we are previewing Masters Bangkok with 4TV and That Nerd Kaizen, so you don't want to miss out on that either. All links are in the annotation or description below. Now back to the guide. EMEA is cooked. How did you let the most mid-org in all of Valorant make the grand finals of your region? I like Patitek and Nats as much as the next person, but lord was I not excited to see the rest of the roster, and for the latter part of the tournament, there should have been no reason why Team Liquid did what they did. They beat BBL, who were looking great in the first half of kickoff, then they beat Foot in a tight match, and then Heretics didn't even show up to their match. How the hell did they 3-0 Team Heretics? The series wasn't even close, and I am flabbergasted by how fast this team developed. So much so that when we saw them against Vitality, they were kicking their asses for 2 maps. I was thinking Liquid was going to speedrun best of 5s at this point. Jokes aside, EMEA is making a lot of IGLs recently. Yampy, Sayf, and now Nats. Kamo took the duelist reins from Keiko, and he's been doing some really solid work, which has been rare for the rest of the duelist players in their first year in EMEA. Despite all my hating on this org and the team, the players have proven me wrong, and like I have said countless times on these videos, I can admit when I have been wrong. Except for one team which we will talk about later. As far as Team Liquid, they have gone from mid to great quite quickly, but I got my eye on you. I still don't think you fully beat the allegations. You still have not shown anything at the international level since the start of franchising. Prove me wrong. Trexx is back for another international appearance, finally stepping into the second place spot in VCT China. And maybe they should have been the first place, given how good they actually played against EDG the first time. Last year, we saw them bring in Biank from Bilibili Gaming and then qualifying for champions, then defeating Team Vitality but not doing much in playoffs. This year, they have seemingly continued their momentum from champions in China. They beat DRG in a massive upset, then sent EDG to the lower bracket thanks to an insane performance by Heybay on map 1, and closing it out on 2. Speaking of Heybay, the dude got a fine for playing Valorant with his girlfriend. Dude, the report even gives the girlfriend statistics of her going 1-17 in Silver 1. She really needed the help. Trexx then took action after another streamer called out this behavior and fined Heybay a whole month's worth of salary, instead of just, telling him not to do it anymore. If I was Heybay, my ass is throwing at Masters if you do this to me. Hell, I'll even go 1-17 just to prove a point. Okay, jokes aside. Trexx then would go on to beat Bilibili to qualify for the Chinese Grand Finals. I have no clue how they keep getting away with this, but EDG managed to make a lower bracket run to beat Trexx in the best of 5 series to win China again. After that performance, Trexx doesn't look as strong as EDG, and before the report, I was almost a fan of Trexx, but a whole month's worth of a salary is insane, especially because Riot wasn't even involved with this one. T1 was the team I was most excited about in the Pacific region. They had some of my favorite players over the years in Stax, Buzz, and Meteor, and it was looking like T1 and Valorant could finally start their own legacy. Then the tournament rolled around and T1 looked a lot more shaky than I thought. They kept winning games, but they were constantly being taken to the limit by teams that should probably not be doing that to a top team. Regardless, they were still winning. Then they had the banger versus DRX that sent them to the lower bracket, and now they have to face Gen G, who also take them to all 5 maps, and at Grand Final, despite getting a banger last 2 maps, it felt like the game plan was just all over the place. They constantly were playing for behind, and although they did manage to win 2 maps, DRX gave them hell in those maps, and while DRX won, they basically ran through them in the maps that they won. Part of the reason for this roster feeling somewhat disjointed could be because of Carpe subbing in for Sylvan midway through kickoff, or even just the merger of all these systems that the Vision Strikers players were part of, Carpe and Sylvan juggling, and Izu, who was already part of T1. Don't get me wrong, they are still a good team and they have shown that they can win. They are, after all, the 2nd place in Pacific, but my confidence in them in going up against a G2 or a Vitality is not the same as when the season started. If you're one of the fans that saw this roster and immediately thought that they would be world class, well, you were right. Sentinels have completely returned to form in the quickest shift of a roster I have ever seen. Typically with changes to 2/5 of the roster, teams tend to be a lot slower to pick up their former pace. Sentinels have shattered those expectations at the start of the season. Not only that, but the road to qualifying to Bangkok gave us some of the best games in Americas. The match versus 100 Thieves and Loud were some of the best matches this year, and even the 5-map series with MIBR and G2 were quite fun to watch, even if every map was not a nail-biter. But let's talk about these players. JohnQT has basically been the team's de facto Tejo, and I cannot blame him. He looks really good on the agent, and it's probably a lot easier to IGL from that position. Bang is a dedicated smokes player and has fulfilled his purpose, and with the buff to Astra, he is showing he was the right pick to sign. Nare has been more quiet than the rest of the roster, but honestly, it's hard to shine when all of these players are playing great. Zellsis, you know, the Vibras, the vibes merchant, is the biggest step up for this team, and has been playing lights out for the team at the kickoff stage. And even when the going is tough, he brings a positive attitude to the game. In their Americas run, they couldn't quite get the best of G2 as they lost to them in the qualifier to Bangkok, and when they eventually did get their rematch against G2, despite a strong start and dominating performances on several maps, at the end of the day, G2 showed that they were not the same team as last year. Sentinels have an incredibly strong chance to contend for the title. Not many teams in Valorant could ever put a scratch on G2's dominant run, let alone put a massive dent like they did. There are strong teams in this tournament, but it looks to me that the Americas are walking in with the best teams, and Sentinels are a shining example of that.
The reigning world champions are back and ready to defend their title, which, if you know anything about Valorant history, is actually super unusual. As 5 months after lifting the trophy, most champions crumble or slip away, never to be seen again. And for EEG, it actually looked like they'd be another casualty of the curse, after being shocked by Trace to be sent to elimination. It really looked like this would be the first time EEG didn't go to an international. But that's when 2 of their stars, Nobody and Kang Kang, stepped up, going on a lower bracket run to remember, breaking the round win streak record in the process, then going on to lift the kickoff trophy yet again. While they look a lot more like themselves, with even Simon, who was a rookie last year, looking to have improved, there's still a lot of worry for this team, as they've been super unstable as a team since winning champions. So while the champions curse has hit them the least, it doesn't mean they're safe from it in Masters Bangkok.
You can find Andy's content in the link in the description below or at Esports Andy on YouTube. And you can find me and Esports Andy on 2 platforms. Exit Frag, which is a daily podcast where we talk about all things related to Valorant, and our new venture Hidden Levels, where we give you documentaries about everything gaming related. No way, man. Not like this. I don't want to admit that I was wrong. There's only one coach who I've hated this much, and it's Termi. And despite all my doubts and all my questions about changing this roster last minute, DRX have seemingly done the impossible and won the Pacific kickoff stage. They brought in Hyunmin from Crest, and his duelist play is very nice. Freeing is the best Taeho player in the world, just look at the statistics. Flashback finally found some consistency in the Sentinel role, and Mako is IGLing after he was unhappy with Freeing's calling, and nothing negative happened out of that change. And BeyN, well, he's been alright. God damn it, I wanted Termi to fail so bad, but they beat the Vision Strikers core, and now I have the clown makeup on my face. Here we are though, and it's not like they had an easy road either. They beat Nongshing Red Force, who looked impressive at kickoff. Genji, who despite losing some parts of their roster, still overperformed. And then they beat T1 twice in a row, who were supposed to be the super team of the Pacific region. It's hard for me to say anything more negative about this team. On paper, it should have failed, and the results speak for themselves. They have not. The team is working, and they don't look to be slowing down at all. The teamwork is solid, the coaching is good, yes I know, hard for me to admit, and now they have to try and surpass the 4th place curse at the international stage. And Lord, it's going to be tough. There are some really good teams in this tournament. And everyone here is trying to prove something as well. Much like their counterparts in Americas, the formation of the EME Americas super team has bore its fruits. Sayf, Les, Derke, Trexx, and Kix have shown us some of the best displays of Valorant since Fnatic in 2023. They had the best EMEA matchup with Karmine Corp and completely dominated FUT Esports and even Team Heretics to qualify for the event. To be perfectly honest, I expected this and Karmine Corp to either be massive failures or incredible successes, and as of right now, I only see Vitality in the realm of success. Derke keeps proving that his skill is eternal. Sayf's moves to IGL has not confused or slowed down the team in the least. And Les, well, gente, aunque nenhum time brasileiro tá no Masters, o Les é o representativo do Brasil. And Trexx and Kix were the right players to keep around from last year. Vitality in the grand finals did scare the hell out of me. Team Liquid is the team that took them to the limit. Look, the reality is that Vitality should have never been in the position to be down 2 maps to one of the most mid rosters of all time in EMEA. And to boil it down, Vitality were playing like individuals and not as a team in the first 2 maps. It was painfully obvious on Haven, and while they did fix their mistakes on other maps, there are other teams that are walking into this tournament who are not playing on the individual basis. If there's one thing that will be the downfall of this roster, it will be the lack of teamwork. Last year, G2 were on the international stage and on the VCT stage, falling short of every goal they had. Despite being in 2 grand finals in Americas, they could never get the job done. Masters Shanghai, they came in 3rd place after Heretics' heroic run, and at Champions, they bowed out in lower round 1 to Fnatic. They were missing the X factor to take them over the line, like an Aspas or a Zekken type player. And in the offseason, to absolutely nobody's surprise, they added Jawgemo as the final piece of the puzzle. G2 were immediately in the talks for the best team in the Americas, and with high expectations, they ran through the Americas as though they were playing middle schoolers. Cloud9 and Leviathan were no matchups to their discipline, and even when they were tasked to play against what some consider to be the toughest test in Sentinels, they didn't even break a sweat and sent them to the lower bracket. Fast forward to the grand finals, and G2 finally break their streak of losing best of 5s by defeating Sentinels and winning their first VCT Americas trophy. To think that if you were to remove even one person from this team that you would still have a very stacked lineup is insane, but Jawgemo has been that X factor to bring G2 over the line, and even when he is not the reason for them winning, you still have Leaf looking like Optic Yi on Chamber, the Professor JonahP with some insane multi-frags, Trent and Valyn coming in with clutches as well. With so much talent, it's hard not to see shades of other great teams in Valorant's history, but they still have to accomplish what they have not been able to do despite the last 2 appearances at international events, and that is to win the whole thing. I won't sugarcoat their victory too much, as I do think that despite their success, synergy, and tactics, from the looks at grand finals, they look shaken by the stage, and that is what will be the deciding factor in this team's success. Is the stage too big? Will their nerves bring them down? Or is the grand finals doubt broken? I cannot wait to see this team play, and they are a team that I will be rooting for at Masters Bangkok. I've been following them since 2022, I have seen them win the Ascensions tournament, struggle in Americas, defy their own expectations, and make mid-season adjustments to be contenders. And now I have seen them play near perfect Valorant. I know they can win. Masters Bangkok is going to be an exciting way to kick off international play. For the most part, we got the two best teams from each region, and now we get to see everyone go head to head in the Swiss stage of the tournament. Like I said before, I'm rooting for G2 to win the whole thing. But let me know who you're rooting for in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Exit Frag, as next week me, Esports Andy, 4TV, That Nerd Kaizen will all be podcasting together about Masters Bangkok in daily Yap sessions for you guys. And also check out Hidden Levels, where me and Esports Andy just uploaded a Balatro video, and we have a history of FPS esports coming soon. Shout out to all the channel members on screen: Ankles, Tax Evasion, Hal Hades, Anon Gamer, Lazy Foo, Jules, and Extended Warranty. Your support is appreciated. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.